Making $10,000 in real estate as someone who's a complete beginner is honestly going to be super tough. But the easiest way I would say to make that is,
what is your positioning playbook for the next 6 months, online and offline?
that would be to really hyper-focus yourself on one specific thing. Which person are you targeting? If you can do it well, then they will continuously come back to you.
You've been around top CEOs and operators. How do you turn a single coffee chat with a senior person into an ongoing relationship?
You really want to build a relationship with somebody. You want to be able to talk like them, really be able to... Then they'll actually, if they really see that it's genuine, that could turn into a DM. And then from the DM, that could be, let's now learn more about each other. From there, it could be, now let's actually meet in person.
Do you think some people are using AI as a way to avoid doing the unsexy work of actually understanding real estate fundamentals?
The way you really avoid just relying on AI, it still needs human judgment to decide whether or not is this a good deal to invest in.
While most people are still trying to pass their midterms, my guest today is in rooms with billion-dollar operators, learning how AI is actually being used to find, underwrite, and operate real assets. Today's guest is playing a game most students don't even know exists. Abraham Rajput is the co-founder of Bricks, a real estate, private equity, and development startup, and he's also the head of partnerships at Velric and a fellow in BGO's AI and commercial real estate program. Welcome back to the Gen CEO Playbook podcast, where we steal the best operating systems behind the most ambitious Gen Z builders and give them to you for free. In today's convo, we're going to break down his playbooks, how he gets into these rooms, how he turns fellowships into real opportunities, and how you can copy and paste his approach into your own career, whether or not you come from money, connections, or a target school. If you're serious about getting into AI, real estate, or just want a general roadmap on turning potential into leverage, stay to the end of this episode. And if you're new here, subscribe. It's free, it helps out a ton, and you join us on the journey for responsible innovation. Abraham, I'm honored to have you here today. How are you doing?
Good. How about you, Rayan?
I'm good, thank you. So Abraham, you've clearly figured out how to position yourself as the AI and CRE guy early. So if someone wants to own a niche as you do, what is your positioning playbook for the next 6 months, online and offline?
Rayan, that's actually a very good question. Personally, my perspective on that would be to really hyper-focus yourself on one specific thing, one specific problem that you're trying to solve. So let's just say, for example, if a field that you are looking to pursue, you're looking to go down, potentially real estate. But then you don't want to just be that person who's focused on, AI and how AI is implemented in real estate. You want to focus on a very specific niche, a very specific area where you could really target one user, one specific ICP, one person who you could solve their problem for. It could be, let's just say in the real estate space, it could be commercial real estate, it could be residential real estate, it could be industrial real estate. And then in these different types of real estate, which person are you targeting? Are you targeting the developer? Are you targeting the operator, the property manager? Are you targeting the owner? Are you targeting the agent, the broker? Who are you specifically targeting? And you want to really find one area in the field that you are looking to pursue and that you know that you could actually solve a problem in. You're looking to target one person that you could actually help. So let's just say you want to focus on how you can use AI to maybe help multifamily developers streamline their documentation with less than 50 units in each of their buildings. How can you help this one individual with their very specific problem instead of being too broad? You don't want to be too broad and you don't want to spread yourself too wide. When it comes to being niche, you have to focus very, very closely on one person that you're trying to help solve their problem for. And if you can do it well, then they will continuously come back to you. They will you will really, really be able to excel very well with that one specific ICP. And other than that, you want to also, when it comes to positioning yourself successfully within that niche, you also want to really hyper-focus your content towards a catered audience. So you want your content to be, let's just say you are in the real estate space. Now, there's a lot of real estate content creators, they're targeting all sorts of different audiences. But if you want to be really successful in establishing your brand and at least getting your content to really kick off and start to build momentum and establish itself in its foundation, you want to target one audience who would really resonate well with the content and the themes that that your content brings. So that could be like, you start to open up about how, you've been in the multifamily space in real estate, and you want to now help share, tips, or you want to sort of open up more about your journey on, what it's like for you, maybe developing multifamily real estate, and really targeting people in that field, in that specific niche, who would actually enjoy watching your content or enjoy reading your content and would actually gain value from it, rather than just targeting anybody and everybody. Now, obviously, when it comes to content and, being niche down, I think it's very important to really build a very strong content creation. You want to really be very present when it comes to content creation about what your goals are, who you're targeting, and what value are you bringing to your audience. But I really do believe that obviously being super niche with your content is super important, but also being able to target everybody and letting everybody know what you're building, what your journey is. So, like, take for example posting on LinkedIn. You want to let people know about, your achievements, your celebrations, like, I just recently achieved this, or I'm excited to announce this, even though not keeping them so generic or so boring where people, they just don't resonate with it at all. But you want to share small bits of your journey with people, and you want them to really understand that you are a real human being, and that you have, goals, and you're an ambitious person and you're looking to achieve something. So this is the best way for anybody to really get started when it comes to obviously building a niche, but also building a personal brand. I would say the number one thing you need to do is you need to start posting on LinkedIn. Just start posting your journey. Start posting something that's valuable for people. Start posting something where you could actually genuinely bring value to someone who's reading your post, and you're able to actually help them walk away with some takeaway from, something that you've learned, and they'll start following along with you. And with that, then you start building your personal brand, and you start building a following where people actually care about you and they care about your journey and they want to see you succeed and grow, rather than just being someone who's invisible and someone that nobody knows about. And if somebody were to potentially try to, maybe you had a business opportunity where somebody, wanted to come up to you and they wanted to do business with you, would they rather do business with somebody, that's well known and has a very strong reputation for, because they've showcased their entire past, what it was like when they built this company,
Mhm.
or, this, when they signed this contract, or when they worked with this person, if they really showcase how well they worked and their entire journey, and how efficiently they work, how
Mhm.
well they work, all of that, like the results they got, stuff like that. And versus somebody who nobody knows about and has no online presence, no brand presence, nothing like that. It's more difficult to trust, especially in today's age, the way things are today, where
Mhm.
basically your online presence is everything. Your online presence equals business. So if you have a strong online presence and you're really able to double down on your niche and build, very strong, sort of brand online about who you are and what you do and the value that you bring. People, partnerships, opportunities, they will come right to you. You don't need to go looking for them. People will start DMing you. People will start following along on your journey. People will, things will come where you haven't expected it. Doors will open where you haven't expected it. And it's truly remarkable what it can be to really just obviously find your niche, really double down on targeting that niche's audience and getting them to, really, really stick with you. You want your content to stick, you want your brand to stick with them, but then also getting everybody in general to, know you as what you want to be known as, knowing what you do, and
Mhm.
being someone who is obviously authentic and genuine, and someone that people are genuinely interested in wanting to see succeed. That's my positioning playbook.
Abraham, if you had to design a first 10K in real estate playbook for a 20-year-old with no capital, what are the exact 3 to 5 steps that they should follow over the next 90 days?
To be honest, I would say making $10,000 in real estate as someone who's a complete beginner is honestly going to be super tough.
Mhm.
The game of real estate is typically the big dollars are made through development and holding on for the long term, or through very successful flip deals where somebody buys property, just renovates it and completely flips it for maybe
Mhm.
2x the amount of money. But the easiest way to at least make $10,000 in real estate, which is not a lot of money, it's very small. But the easiest way I would say to make that is probably through deal sourcing. So if you were to maybe go to a developer, somebody that you know is actively looking to buy properties, actively looking to buy land, and is ready to buy. He just wants to find that golden deal. If you can find somebody who's actively looking to find that golden deal out there in the market, and you could actually help them find it, they will pay you a sourcing fee. And that could be anywhere from a couple thousand, it could be 10,000, depending on the size, whatever your agreement is with the developer,
Mhm.
it could be tens of thousands. But obviously, so you have the ability to source deals for developers and for people, for investors. And then you also have something called real estate wholesaling, where you basically find distressed properties, find a motivated seller, and you help them find a buyer. That's another way people make very, I would say, they're able to make good amount of money in real estate with relatively low amount of capital and low amount of risk at all. It's typically done through deal sourcing or real estate wholesaling.
Mhm. Abraham, do you think some people are using AI as a way to avoid doing the unsexy work of actually understanding real estate fundamentals? And if you do, how do you personally make sure you're not one of them?
The best way to do that is to really, really fundamentally understand what real estate is about and what a real estate deal is about, how money is actually made. The way you really avoid just relying on AI and sort of thinking that it'll carry out the entire deal is by actually learning how a deal is really executed and what it's like actually going from, looking to buy a piece of land to acquiring it to, getting the approvals to doing the construction to doing the development and then to the actual, opening the property, managing the property, operating the
Mhm.
property throughout maybe the next 7 to 10 years, and then actually selling it. I would say the best way to do it is to really understand how that entire process works and to sort of maybe really put yourself in those scenarios where you're seeing each step of the process and you're actively looking at, how are properties managed, how are, properties bought, and how are
Mhm.
properties, negotiated, how's their zoning negotiated with the government and stuff like that. Because with that, AI is very difficult to replace. AI cannot replace the people who are going out on the construction site and actually building the property, building
Mhm.
that apartment building or building that house. AI cannot replace that. It cannot replace that physical labor. So really understanding every single piece of the process of a real estate development deal or a real estate investment deal, it's the best way to go about it. And then to really underwrite, when you're underwriting deals, to really think very, very deeply about what each number means and what each deal that you're underwriting really means. Because yes, AI can nowadays underwrite deals very well, but it still needs
Mhm.
human judgment to decide whether or not, is this a good deal to invest in? Because the whole purpose of underwriting deals is to figure out if a deal is actually worth investing in or not. But
Like you
when
can
you
use AI
have
to get like an opinion. Sorry to cut you off. You can use AI to get you like an opinion, but you need an actual human to decide whether you're not going to go for it or not.
Exactly. That's what the purpose of AI should be. It should not be to, and at least that's the way it is right now in real estate, because obviously real estate
Mhm.
has huge amounts of capital tied to it. It's not like if an AI just says, "Oh yeah, go ahead and invest in that deal. We think the underwriting looks good." It does not mean that that's actually going to happen. At least not in the present day. And obviously, there's still a lot of human judgment involved, a lot of human oversight involved. But I feel like the way it is, at least for the younger generation, to avoid being so dependent on AI, and that's how AI is sort of abstracting them away from what real estate is actually about. It's to really be fully involved in the real estate process, everywhere from the acquisition to the sale to the construction, all of that. Be really involved and really understand what it's about and really get to understand why a deal is worth investing in the first place. Why is this a good investment? Why is this how will this actually produce a real ROI? And what are the potential downsides? Always assessing what the downsides are. That way you know what it's like going into the deal. And just because the AI said, just
Mhm.
because the AI underwrote the deal and thought, it was perfect. Everything looked perfect. This is a huge potential deal. We won't lose money. Maybe the AI said that, but there's so many potential downsides that could occur. And really being able to, as an analyst and as an underwriter, really understanding what the risks are when it comes to real estate investment and what it comes when going into a deal. So being able to really assess a deal very strongly in real life, like you really want to know exactly what the risks are with that specific property. Who are the teams behind that property? Who's going to be managing the construction? Who's going to be managing the property management? Who are the teams? Who are the people that you're going to be working with? Who's the government that you're going to be working with? And where are you building this? What's the location like? All of that, it all needs human judgment and oversight. So if you can really just get well at just understanding all of that and being able to grasp all of that and embrace it very well to your advantage, you will be extremely successful in actually executing real estate deals, but also using AI to amplify what you do and augment your efficiency and your ability to produce good real estate deals. That's the best part.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there because if we're using AI to like cheat and like not fully understand the fundamentals, then like later on in life, it's 100% going to come and haunt you, right?
Yes.
So Abraham, can you walk me through your deal reps? Like, how does someone go from knowing nothing about CRE to underwriting their first 10 deals in under 6 months? What would the weekly cadence look like, the tools, and the feedback?
I would say the simplest way to do it is literally to go online and honestly just go to YouTube or look up some very basic underwriting course and just learn the super fundamentals of what underwriting a real estate deal looks like. What is it like just collecting the income statement and, just based off of the income statement, how can I assess whether this deal is good or not? How
Mhm,
much money do I need to put down, the capital? Learning how to, build that Excel spreadsheet and figure out the metrics that you need to know to figure out whether or not this is a good real estate deal or not. Figure out the loan to value ratio, figuring out all these super basic metrics that are very easy to learn. It's just being able to really understand what it means and being able to apply it to very complicated deals that are huge and have multiple capital partners and whatnot. You also want to be able to, build a, simple model that outlines, what it would be like to take a loan from a bank and what it would be like to amortize that loan over 20 years or 30 years with a mortgage and figure out if your property can generate more rent than the mortgage. How much cash flow will you make.
mhm,
Very simple stuff like that. Just learn how to do the super basics and really understand what it means, to collect the rent rolls and to project the rent and project the expenses and project the taxes and
mhm,
how much money you would have to pay for a mortgage, how much,
mhm. So, Abraham, you've been around top CEOs and operators. So, how do you turn a single coffee chat with a senior person into an ongoing relationship without really being annoying or transactional?
the best way to do it is to come from a perspective of somebody who is willing to actually provide value to the person that you're speaking with. So you don't want to just be very very transactional in the sense that you just want a coffee chat or you just want to get notes from them. You really want to build a relationship with somebody that you are, especially somebody who's much more successful than you and probably does not want any of your time. You want to
So you're
come
saying to
from
like go into their shoes. Sorry to cut you off. You're saying go into the
yes.
shoes and just like be a good friend with them. Like don't ask for anything. Don't like say I need help with this, and don't be transactional and just be a general good friend with them. Is that what you're basically saying?
Exactly. You want to resonate basically on the same frequency as them. You want to be able to talk like them, really be able to even sort of like, I would say, stroke their ego a little bit. Because the thing is, with very successful people who are obviously way above you, if they ever do want to meet you, my best piece of advice would be to sort of cater towards their ego, make them feel good about themselves, and make them so immersed in a conversation that they're only talking about themselves and what they do
Mhm.
because people love talking about themselves. It's the best thing to
Exactly.
do, in my opinion. If you can really just make sure that they really know that you're not in it for, you're not in it for more connections. You're not
Just
in
the
it so that
gains.
exactly. You're not in it. You're not in it for your own gains. You're in it for their own personal value. You want to basically, I would say, the way I approach it is becoming, somewhat like friends with them. Not like friends, like
Mhm.
informal friends or whatnot, but becoming friends in a sense that they actually like you and they're like, hey, I like this guy. Like we had a really great conversation,
Mhm.
even though maybe he, you know, everybody else he talks to just it doesn't work out because all they wanted was, who else could you connect me with, or let's sign this
Mhm.
contract, or
Do something
you
for
know,
me, please. Like,
what's in it for me,
help me
maybe
out.
check out my product or some sale. They just wanted a sale or they just wanted something out of it
Mhm.
versus, let me just really get to
This guy just
genuinely
being like
know
a
this person.
general, genuine friend.
Exactly. Not being like, okay, this was a one time meeting, it was cool knowing you, but now you need to check out my product and I need a sale from you, or, now, let's get this contract signed versus
Mhm.
it being like, okay, cool, let's go out for coffee. And then when we go out for coffee, like I really genuinely want to know who you are and what you do and what your life is like. I
Mhm.
don't want to just figure out, what your secret is to being a multimillionaire or billionaire or whatever.
Mhm.
What is your secret to really winning in your business? And, the same generic questions that everybody's probably asking
Everybody's
them.
asking. Exactly.
Exactly. You want to ask, what is your family like? What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Mhm.
Maybe they have a hobby that you also are really passionate about, like a sport. And that's easily a great way to connect with them. So
Mhm.
you want to just open up from a perspective of somebody who's not being so like stuck and like not willing to open up. They're just in it for, or maybe they're not opening up because they're scared, and they really think that this person is very superior to them and that they have no right to like they have to act super perfect and
Mhm.
professional or super formal, when typically it's not that case. Like they typically people who you really want to actually I would say like connect with, and like who you really think are extremely successful, they're
Mhm.
honestly, you could have a full-blown conversation with them that's completely normal and completely like unrestricted if you just open up in that way, rather than just coming in as somebody who wants that coffee chat and probably never wants to see you again, or
Mhm.
somebody who's just trying to get something out of you, or is just like, oh, I just want to meet that billionaire because he's a billionaire. you
Mhm.
know there's nothing that comes out of that versus I really want to get to know this person very well, and then consistently showing up, because sometimes there's people who you might meet once but then you'll probably never meet them again, but it's being able to really consistently show up and show them that you're actually interested in really being their friend. So it could be like even like some people that I've met that I would have never expected. It was through engagement with them on LinkedIn, constantly engaging with their content, maybe like commenting on their
Mhm.
posts or following along with what they do, and really being genuine about actually following what they do, and, giving them my input, giving them my insights, really showing them the value that I bring. And then from there, it's just irresistible. They want to connect with me because they see,
Mhm.
that I've consistently
The
engaged with them, and they're
value.
like, exactly. Like now they know who I am, rather than just me showing up and being like, look, I just want a coffee chat. Like, even though they have no idea who I am,
Like
they
who you
most
are.
likely will say,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, they're not going to want to meet you. Versus, let's just say they already had a long history of like them seeing you consistently show up to like all their posts or whatever. Like, now they know who you are. And they see that you're actively engaged and you actually want to meet them and you actually want to continue to build that relationship. Then they'll actually, if they really see that it's genuine and you're not just trying to scam them, you're not just trying to get like some investment money from them, you're not trying to do any of that, you're just being genuine, then that could turn into a DM. And then from the DM, that could be, let's now learn more about each other. And, you have a conversation, maybe on LinkedIn DMs. And from there, it could be like, now let's actually meet in person. That it's happened to me many times. I would say it's probably the best thing that you could do. It's to really show people who you are, let them know who you are, build a relationship with them that's long term and that will benefit both of you. That's mutual. That's my
Mhm.
best advice.
Okay. Abraham, if a student is choosing between a safe analyst job in a big firm or a messy, smaller opportunity with a lot more responsibility, what would you choose today? And why do you think some people underestimate the value of smaller opportunities?
I would say it would be good to embrace the smaller opportunity if you're somebody who is willing to embrace failure and willing to actually use it to your advantage rather than just throwing yourself into like having that leadership in that smaller opportunity just because you want to fit in. I would say that's something you should avoid because there are certain people who can actually be able to manage that and they're willing to manage that like the ambiguity and all the adversity that comes with that. Because let's just say you had that smaller opportunity, right?
Mhm.
Probably at a startup, right? Let's just say somebody wanted you to work at their startup and you get to have, equity and whatnot. With that comes a lot of leadership because you're most likely going to be one of the very few people on the team. And when it comes to running a startup or running a business in general, there's so much to do. So with that, you're going to have obviously huge learning curve. You're going to learn a lot, and you're also going to fail a lot. And you're going to really learn what it's like to actually build a business rather than just that analyst who's probably working at a big company and it probably is prestigious and you know more well off. Obviously you'll have the salary, you'll have the benefits and whatnot, but you won't be able to really truly experience what it's like building a company from nothing, from ground zero, and what it's like to actually do all the workflows that are associated with the business and what it's like to actually get clients, get revenue, get profits, and to really deliver value to the world and to the market rather than just being an analyst who's one piece, one cog in a whole entire system. You're not able to experience the rest of the entire. You're not basically you don't get to see anything else. You're just that one
Mhm.
cog in the entire system, and you're only being used for one function, which is, I guess, okay if you want that security, but then obviously you're not learning much. So I would say it depends on what you are looking for and what type of person you are. Because you could be looking for a smaller opportunity like that, but then once you do get into it, and once you really do get into it, then you could really quickly realize how difficult it is, and you could very quickly lose hope, very quickly just give up and quit because it is very difficult. So it depends on what type of person are you. Are you able to handle pressure? Are you able to handle pain, conflict, and are you able to handle adversity and challenges and being willing to really believe in your ability to just continually push forward and actually strongly, strongly push your brand out there to the market, push your business out there to the market, even though nobody else will believe in you. Even your own team members will probably not believe in you. They might leave you, they might leave the company because they lose value, they lose sight of that vision that your company has. So if you have a strong vision and you have a strong belief in yourself to really, you have that entrepreneurial spirit, I would say it's much better to embrace that smaller opportunity and to
Mhm.
really, really build that leadership skill because that will be way more exponentially valuable than any analyst position at a big company. But if you're not that type of person, then go ahead and go work as an analyst at the big
The safe
company.
analyst. Exactly. So, Abraham, you've seen both elite university environments and real world operators. So, what do you think of the current education system in real estate? Is it growing, traditional, basic, or just stable?
I would say it is traditional and it is basic. At least in the real estate world, when it comes to formal education, so maybe you're talking like undergrad, graduate level. There's very little to any AI integrated in the curriculum or what it's being taught when it comes to learning about real estate, because the fact is that real estate is a laggard when it comes to adopting AI. The real estate industry, even right now in 2026, has still not fully adopted AI at all. Like very few people in the real estate industry actually use it. Even
Wow.
like for things like underwriting and stuff like that. Even though AI, even like ChatGPT, could easily replace underwriting, the entire function itself. But very few people actually do
Use
that
it.
because most of the people in this industry are typically much older and they're much more risk averse as well because they know that real estate is a long term game.
Hmm.
They're older people. They're typically, boomers, Gen X, those type of
Hmm.
people. Those are mostly the type of people that you'll see in the real estate industry. And they're not the type to actively adapt to new
To
technologies or
AI
anything that new
and
that
start
comes
using
their way.
it. Mhm. So, Abraham, I see a lot of students obsess over brand names on their CV. So, from what you've seen in rooms with serious operators, what do they secretly not care about that all young people are over optimizing for?
I would say, wait, do you mind repeating the question one more time? Sorry.
Sure, sure. So, Abraham, a lot of students obsess over brand names on their CV. So, from what you've seen in rooms with serious operators, what do they secretly not care about that all young people are over optimizing for?
Serious operators really do not care about where you come from, or maybe what company you've worked for in the past, or what school you graduated from, or what degree you got. It's really about none of that. It's really like serious operators, they're actively looking for people who actually execute and actually know how to execute and know how to solve problems. That's basically it. Because nowadays, companies, they need people who are actually talented, who actually, it doesn't matter, like, obviously, if you have maybe little to no formal education, or you didn't go to that target school, or you don't have those connections, or you didn't work at that prestigious company. It's really about, can you really prove that you have the ability to execute at this job? Like, let's just say you're looking for that job, right? The recruiters and the companies, the serious operators, they're looking for people who can actually execute and do the job, and they can do the job very, very well without any hand holding, without
The
any,
question's asked, like, get the job done.
exactly, like they know how to do it best, and they know how to not just do that, but they know how to take ownership as well, and they know how to push their team forward and to really execute the company's vision. Those are the type of people that companies want. They don't want the person who's just going to stick at their job, and they're probably only going to stick with doing that. They're just going to clock in at 9, clock out at 5. They're not going to push their team forward. They don't bring that energy to their team.
They
They
just do
don't
the bare
go above
minimum.
and beyond. Exactly. They're just there for the paycheck, and they're there to get in at 9, leave at 5, and not do much else. Nothing outside of their job description. There's people like that, and there's people who are all actively looking to grow, and know that if they can put their best into the company and what they do, and if they can actually, grow their company, even if it's just their team, or if they can actually grow the company's revenue itself, like directly, you know, actively doing new initiatives, actively, actively looking to grow the company themselves and take actual ownership of it, even if they don't have any real ownership, but still just doing whatever they can in their best ability, whatever their role might be, to actually grow the company and make it successful. Those are the
Those are
people
the
that companies
operators you want to
actually
see.
want, especially startups.
Hmm.
Startups want people who can actually fill in that gap of like 30% of business functions that need to get done by one person. They want
Like, they
someone who actually,
genuinely enjoy what they do, what they work.
exactly, they know what they can they know what they can bring to the table, and they're very, very they know and they believe very well about the value that they can bring as well. And if serious operators can really sense, they can sense that from obviously your expertise, then it really does not matter what company is on your CV.
Mhm.
Obviously, it does help to have maybe like a big tech company on your CV, or it does help to have like a big tech company on your CV, or like an investment bank or whatever.
But it
But
would not be the deciding factor if you get the job or not. But it just looks nice.
exactly. It
Mhm.
really is from your past experience. What have you been like, when been put through challenges? How have you solved it? What are you like as a team player, and what are you like as a leader? If we put you in a leadership position, how will you lead? How will you execute? And how do you plan on growing the company? That's the biggest thing. Companies need executors. They need people who can actually lead the company's vision themselves, rather than just being somebody mundane and somebody mediocre who will just go along with just their job description. They need people who will actually lead the company and actually be much, much like a huge asset to the company. Basically, companies need their team to be an asset. That's the biggest thing.
So, Abraham, a lot of Gen Z builders here build in public and then just start posting like random updates. So, how would you turn your journey of fellowships, programs, and trips into a signal that attracts serious people and not just random noise?
Best way to do it is obviously be very careful about what you're posting and why you're posting it, and who you're posting it for, even because there's a lot of LinkedIn posts, especially nowadays, from teenagers who are like 13, 14, who are just posting random things, like
Mhm.
treating it basically like TikTok or Instagram,
Yeah, yeah.
which I really, really just despise. I think it's really terrible, because you're basically with those posts, and then they get engagement because there's more people like that obviously coming onto the platform.
Mhm.
But I think it's
Exactly.
very important to really make sure that whatever you're posting is valuable. It needs to be valuable. Like, your people who are reading it need to genuinely feel happy about reading it and feel like they have some takeaway from it, and not
I think
not
this
some takeaway. Yeah,
Sorry, I think you said this before, but like you need to like show value to your niche audience, your target audience. You want to make sure that they value what you're putting out there for them.
exactly, exactly. And you don't want to just be, posting random content that basically is just, I would say, basically like brain rot. You want to avoid
Nobody
brain rot
wants
at
to
all
see that.
costs. Nobody wants to see that, and even the people who want to see that, and the people who
They're
actually
not like
engage with
getting
that.
any value from it. They're like, what am I even seeing? I'm just like being supportive.
Exactly. And basically just degrading the platform. You
Hmm.
want to be that person who's actually uplifting the platform and
Exactly.
uplifting the people that you are reaching in your community and building that community for yourself. Building that community of serious builders, serious founders, people who are actually operating at a high level, people who are actually doing good things, people who are actually achieving and looking to grow rather than just putting out random BS posts or people who are pretending to be somebody successful or pretending to be somebody that they're actually not. I would say
Hmm.
it's best to avoid them at all costs, and it's best to not make yourself one of those people as well by being very, very careful about the presence that you're building online as somebody who's actually genuine, somebody who's real, and somebody who's serious about where you want to go and who you want to be.
Lastly, for someone who doesn't know how to code, what is your no code AI playbook to still get into AI and CRE tools, workflows, and specific problems that they should focus on?
The best way to do it is, first of all, look at what you are interested in building in. Look at what you already have expertise or passion for. Look at what that problem, what that desire is, that burning desire within you to actually solve. And then
Mhm.
look at why you actually are the right person to solve that. Forget about AI, forget about all of that. What is a problem that you actually want to solve and that actually matters to you? Because a problem that actually matters to you is one that you'll make sure you'll solve for other people, and you'll directly understand that person that you're solving the problem for because you know what they're facing, you know the pain that they have, and you want to be able to build a painkiller product for that specific person that you already understand because you know what they're thinking and you know what they're experiencing. So first look at what that is, look at what that problem is, and then look at what solution you could build. And then once you do know what it is, then however you can integrate AI to make it, faster, to make it better, to make it more efficient, to automate it, to scale it. That's where you use AI. And then to use AI, nowadays you have everything that it takes to build whatever you want, whether it be a platform, whether it be a website, whether it be whatever. You have basically everything that you need. You have the resources. You have the entire world at your fingertips. It's super easy to build and ship anything nowadays. It's just, what are you shipping, and are you very serious about shipping it, and do you know how to ship it to the people properly and actually deliver value? Or are you just somebody who's just like, I just want to ship, I just want to build, but like, what are you building, and is it actually benefiting anybody? Are you actually solving a problem? So look into
Mhm.
the AI tools. Obviously you can start to use Claude Code. Get into Claude Code. I feel like that's the best way for anybody to really start learning how to use AI. Get into Claude Code. Just learn how it works. Learn how like tools like React and Node.js and like TensorFlow. Learn learn like the basics behind an AI model, how it actually
Mhm.
works,
Mhm.
how you can collect data to actually train an AI model to actually produce valuable outputs. What can you do? Like, at least sort of centered around your problem. How can you take data, collect even more data, and turn that into use that to train AI to actually do a lot of like heavy lifting, or to actually look to solve the problem that you're
Mhm.
looking to solve very, very efficiently. So at least in the real estate space that I operate in, where we take all the real estate documentation, basically all those PDFs, all those huge legal documents, construction documents, all of that, and we streamline it onto our platform, which has our AI models to actually take the data and insights out of those documents and be able to
Mhm.
quickly analyze them within seconds, rather than actively having to look into the fine print, look into the small details. Looking at a construction document, it's very complicated, it's very, very detailed, there's so many specifications. These blueprints are not easy to analyze, nor are the legal documents, nor are any of the documents, I would say, in real estate. They're all complicated. But
Mhm.
if you can train AI models now to actually be able to analyze them within seconds, because AI can do it very well. AI is very good at consuming data and producing outputs, and the more data you can give it, the better it can become. So that's basically what we've done at Bricks, to actually get all of that data that it needs to actually analyze it and produce the outputs and the insights that are needed for those developers within seconds and to streamline all that documentation onto one platform. So that's a problem that we've solved, and we've solved, the pain of compliance, all the time that it takes to analyze these documents, the money that it takes to spend on the team. We've solved that problem for those developers. That's just in the real estate space. Now, you could obviously build anything with AI in any space that you want to. Just look at what solution are you trying to build, what problem actually resonates with you, and how can you use AI to build it? And start looking at those AI tools. Start building with AI even. Let's just say it's not even something valuable. Just start building with AI. Like
Just try it
just
out,
build
start
something.
using it.
Yeah, just start using it. Just build anything, honestly. Like, it doesn't even matter at this point. At least learn it so that you are not illiterate when it comes to AI and actually how it works and all that. Just build anything, even if it's super basic. Start building, that super basic project, or build a very simple model that, has, very little amount of data, but just build something with it. And then from there, you'll start to slowly learn the skills that it takes to build huge models that are very complex, that require lots of data and lots of, coding and engineering to actually build out. Which then you will obviously need engineers to help you. But then all of that comes with skill. You want to first learn, how it works, and then actually using it to ship the value, ship that product, and deliver the value to that one person that you're trying to solve the problem for. Then they will pay you, and boom, now you've solved the problem for one person. Obviously,
Move on
from
to the next
there,
person, and then next. Yeah.
exactly. Then you can start adding more features to your platform, start learning about other specific problems that you can sell. But you want to first start off with one pain point, one very specific problem for one very specific person. Sell it to them first. Once you get that money, once you start scaling from there, then you can start adding more features to the platform, start solving more problems, and you can build, full blown AI tools that, nowadays, like, there's so many platforms out there that just solely rely on AI, all those features and whatnot. But it all started off typically with one problem that they were solving at first. So I would just say, I know that was a bit long, but the best way to do it, at least, with somebody who has no experience with AI, just learn Claude code, learn what it's like to build an app on Lovable, maybe learn what it's
Mhm.
like to build an app on Cursor. Like, test out these platforms, these vibe coding platforms. Learn how to vibe code.
Mhm.
Just learn how to build something with AI. And once you do that, then you can really get into the nitty gritty and the actual coding. If that's something that you're looking to get into, if you're non-technical and not looking to do that, that's totally fine. But you still need to learn AI. You still need to learn how to build with it, because it's super easy to do nowadays, and it's super valuable if you know how to do it. So just learn how to build and deliver value and ship products with AI. That's it.
Thank you so much, Abraham, for being here today. It's truly been a pleasure. So, if you made it this far, you now have at least one playbook you can run this week, whether it's Abraham's way of turning one opportunity into three, his 30-day plan to get reps in real estate, or his no cringe networking system. So, don't just listen to this and move on. Just pause. Pick one thing he said and actually run an experiment in your own life over the next 7 days. Then come back to this episode and tell us in the comments what happened. Abraham, thanks for dropping the game and not the theory. For everyone watching, if you want more conversations like this with the Gen Z builders who are actually in the arena, hit subscribe, drop your favorite insight in the comments, and send this to a friend who needs to hear it. I'm Rayan, this is the Gen Z Playbook podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, Abraham. It's truly been a pleasure.
Thank you, Rayan. It was a good podcast. I enjoyed it, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.